Just to piggyback off what you said, parents, I know this is now with my fiance when she's doing her parent teacher conference. These parents don't teach their kids. They don't parent their kids anymore. It's this new millennium parenting where they feel that once my child leaves the door at 7 a.m. and go into your building, that's your problem. You teach them, you educate them. But that's not true. You're supposed to educate your kids 24 hours a day. You don't rely on the textbooks. You don't rely on these teachers because some teachers don't care. They just want to get a paycheck and they're going to feed you whatever you want to feed them and you got to regurgitate it. And that's not how it's supposed to be done.
Right.
So I look at it as that I know me as a father, I want to educate my daughters. I want them to know that they are beautiful, they are smart, that they can do anything that they want to do.
So what do you think is what I'm trying to really get to at the heart of it is, because what I feel is, if amongst ourselves we can talk about these things and we can ultimately agree on a lot of it. The issue is when we try to reach out to the fifth graders and the kids that are in high school that may have been, not privileged enough to have someone in the home to impart this knowledge. What can we do to get their attention so that they can become interested in a solution? Because one of the things I find is a lot of times stuff goes over their head because it doesn't interest them, it doesn't stimulate. And I believe that, there has to be something that stimulates their interest. And like you said, fifth grade, because they're still young enough that they're willing to still be open enough to receive something. But with the solutions that we need have to be stimulating solutions where people see results, kind of short-term goals with long-term goals down the line, but there has to be some sort of short-term goal in order for them to see a result to even want to get on board.
And it's creating a curriculum. The kids that I've worked with, they didn't even know that I had a program in place that was helping their self-esteem, helping their thinking, and how they went about life. And I was dealing with black kids, Mexican, Hispanic kids, Asian kids, but they didn't know what I was feeding into them until their parents saw later on in life. Marvin, what you implanted in my kid back then, I didn't understand because I was just looking at a win. I just wanted you guys to win. But now that I see the direction my son is going, his thinking, I saw you made a real purpose. You had a purpose in his life. So if we create programs, even if it's just us, because I wrote a book out of pain, out of something that I went through. I wanted to affirm myself. I wanted to journal. I wanted to make sure that I was able to keep myself intact as a black man, because we don't have the money to go get a psychiatrist or somebody to come and just read our thoughts and kind of help us through it. We have to do it ourselves. But once I do that, now it's my responsibility to give to the next person and a group of kids.
And there's also a stigma with mental illness in our community.
Yes.
And to piggyback off what you said, when I was in Florida, I was an instructor at the University of South Florida with a group called Upward Bound. So my curricular, when I was hired, my job was to instruct them on life skills and to build them up.
Okay.
So I actually wrote like a little manual. Everything you think of, from formal dining to writing a business letter to everything that you can think of in a little 30-page book. I noticed that my kids, when I say, I need you to do a resume, they was like, Mr. Cash, what is a resume? And I broke it down to them. I showed them, this is what a resume is like. This is how you're supposed to dress. I noticed that when parent-teacher conference came up, these parents would come to me and say, you know what? My daughter just sat down with me and her uncles and her aunties and showed us how to do a resume. And it blew my mind because it was like, this is a high school kid teaching their family how to do a resume, how to dress for a meeting. This is something that I know when I was growing up, my dad used to show me, okay, when you go into a meeting, you shake a man, you shake his hand firm, you look him in his eye, and you present yourself in the best positive light. And when I look at it, I was like, why does it taking a 14 or 16-year-old girl or a son teach their parents and their uncles and their aunts how to do a resume? And that blew my mind. And to this very day, I stay in contact with my kids. And they said, Mr. Cash, guess what? I'm graduating. I'm graduating from FAMU. I'm graduating from here. And that makes me feel proud because they tell me, remember in class when you showed me how to do this? And I'm like, yeah, I remember that. And then I'm like, I used it today in class. or I know my professors. I listen to you, and that makes me feel proud. And also, I look at the parents. I was like, now I help this little girl or help this guy educate his family now.
So beautiful.
And that's what you need to do. You just got to educate the family first and band together.
Well, you made something. I just want to, before you stop, I want to ask one question, and it's based on what he said. And I want all of you to answer it. We have an issue nowadays with the way our young men dress. There's a big thing with hoodies and pants sag and so forth. Okay, so if you, the majority of the kids that you would be dealing with in school, you would on some level have to deal with the manner in which they dress. If you were to advise them, because I heard a comment about someone saying that they need to change the way they dress, pull their pants up, put on a shirt, so on and so forth. And I said, well, when they were talking about Trayvon Martin and Tamir Rice and so forth, based on how they dressed, they looked older and so forth. But like I said, Dr. Martin Luther King and Malcolm X both had suits on when they were assassinated. So I don't really find that the dress really makes that big of a difference. But
when I see these guys walk around here and they have these skinny jeans, pants is sagging, and I see your underwear, I'm like, do you have any pride in yourself? Mm-hmm. Do you care about your parents? Do you care about your family? Like I look at it when I tell my daughters that you are a reflection of me. I'd rather my babies go out and look like $1 million and I look like, $10. I want them to know that this is how I'm supposed to carry myself at all times. I am a young lady. I must carry myself as a young lady. And it all goes with pride. If the parents do not teach the kids about pride, then the kids are going to just fend for themselves. And that's why you see these young guys walking around here with the pants sagging, girls are half naked, and they're thinking that this is cute. They're thinking that this is what I need to be.
Well, it's based on attention.
Right.
Yeah, they're catering to their homies, and the general public is not even in their consciousness.
No, it's not in their
They don't
consciousness.
care.
Question. Civil rights movement, Dr. King, peaceful protest, we understand what that was about. I just find it ironic that we're always told to be peaceful in our protests, but we go across the ocean and blow people's brains out to get the job done, and why black people are always told to be so docile in their fight for freedom. What is your take on that?
Well, in violence, you really here can't win. That just gives them an excuse to wipe you out. Mm-hmm. You understand? So you basically have to, how can I say it? Our best way for us to get across is economics. We spend $1 trillion in this country, and they know we spend $1 trillion, and we don't spend it on us.
Right.
You see?
Sure.
That's where our power lies.
Sure.
You see, violent protests, you can't win. Just like the standoff up here in the country, these farmers on government land got their guns and they're camped out waiting for the government to come get them. You see?
Now, they're on Indian land at that. They're on Native American soil.
Yeah, and if it was us, they would just wipe us right out of there.
Sure.
And like up in Oregon, they burned down the whole block.
Right, like they did in Philly.
Right, that's with the move. That was the 1985. W. Wilson Good was the mayor, and it was disgraceful.
Yeah, they burned down the whole block. You see,
they burned down 3 blocks.
3 blocks, yeah.
3 blocks.
See, so
first black mayor on his watch.
Yes. I mean, it's a different day now. It's even more violent now than before. I mean, because the attitude, and the biggest problem now, you're going to have more whites having a radical attitude, mainly because more whites are suffering. They're poor.
Chickens then came
you understand?
home.
Yeah, they're poor now. You understand? Plenty got money, but more are doing worse than us.
Absolutely.
And now once that happens, they got to blame somebody. Easy, we're going to be the first people they blame. They're really trying to blame the Hispanics, but they still keep us below them.
Absolutely.
You see, so
because we're the most dangerous.
We're the most in their eyes.
In their eyes, and that's just based on our potential.
Yes.
To be great, not just voting power, but but our greatness will far overshadow and make them obsolete.
And I'm saying one thing: entertainment and athletes. You see, white folks love them. They forget that they're black.
Absolutely.
If you're famous and you got enough talent. They treat you, they want to be in your company more so.
As an idol. So, I mean, ultimately what we have to do is we have to start, again, it goes back to self-esteem building. Yes. Like you said, and we all talked about how we have to teach our young people to just knowledge of self, understand where we come from, and really start to implement plans that are going to re-educate and educate our children in our community properly. Yeah.
Why do you think it is that we don't feel empowered?
We're not empowered. We have systematically been taken out of power. What the community needs, and the community is this, and the community is that, but the fact is that we don't have a community.
We've been wronged as a people, and we continue to be wronged.
Yeah, we were released as black people with zero, told to get into the race with an anchor on our back. That's where we find ourselves.
No, white cops need to stop shooting black people. That's what needs to happen. They need to fix that water situation. That's what needs to happen. The Oscars need to nominate more black people. Not us go out and go try to figure out what we need to do. No, they need to accept us as we are.
In this segment, we're gonna talk about our accountability. We already touched on the importance of education, re-education, and in terms of our health and our community, as far as our self-esteem and so forth. What struck me, and by the way, we have Elijah, who's 10 years old in the 5th grade, and I love the symbolism of him sitting above us, because it's our job to uplift our youth and really put them on a pedestal and let them see their greatness. So it's perfectly fitting. But I noticed before that we have five brothers sitting here at this table who are well educated, athletes, musicians, doctors, realtors, a lighting technician, just multifaceted, and it's ironic that society tries to portray it like they have such a hard time picturing it. So it's important for people and young people Elijah's age to know that this exists, and it's more common than they would imagine. In this segment, we're gonna talk about our accountability. We already touched on the importance of education, re-education, and in terms of our health and our community, as far as our self-esteem and so forth. What struck me, and by the way, we have Elijah, who's 10 years old in the 5th grade, and I love the symbolism of him sitting above us, because it's our job to uplift our youth and really put them on a pedestal and let them see their greatness. So it's perfectly fitting. But I noticed before that we have five brothers sitting here at this table who are well educated, athletes, musicians, doctors, realtors, a lighting technician, just multifaceted, and it's ironic that society tries to portray it like they have such a hard time picturing it. So it's important for people and young people Elijah's age to know that this exists, and it's more common than they would imagine. So just in parting, I'd just like to know maybe you can impart us with some words of wisdom, gentlemen.
You are brilliant and will do exactly what you were meant to do. My message to you is to follow your passion, which is what you're doing. We had a conversation before. One of the things that you mentioned was that you were interested in math as your favorite subject. And it's funny because when I came from Panama, I was exactly your age, 10 years old. I came from Panama to Brooklyn, Bed-Stuy, and went into high school here. And math was one of my favorite subjects. And I also was involved in music then. I started playing the clarinet, and then that shifted into the saxophone. And one of the things I want to impart to you is that you don't only have to have one passion. We're multi-talented people, and we can be scientists, we can be, mathematicians, we can also be artists, and you don't have to stifle one passion because you are interested in another passion. So that's extremely important.
Okay, Elijah, speaking as your great-grandfather, my advice is the best way to live a great life is to seek never-ending wisdom, good judgment, and common sense. Now, if you have those three things, you almost can never go wrong. Other than that, I'm a Rotarian, so I have a philosophy. Our model is service above self. And if you live a life of service and you have the opportunity to serve many, many people, you will always have more than you want. And then there is another code that we live our life by in dealing with people, and that's called the four-way test. And is it the truth? Is it fair for all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial for all concerned? And if you apply that in all that you do, life will be wonderful.
Respect your mom. She is your backbone. She will give you the strength when nobody else can. Never accept no's. When somebody gives you a no, question why. And once they give you the answers of why they told you no, come back and fix it.
Elijah, it's actually funny because my son is named Elijah. You guys have the same spirit, the same just ferociousness for life at a young age. Just keep that. Keep that. That's your goal. A lot of us have to mine for that goal until we don't find that until we're in our 40s or 50s. But you having it at 10, you're way ahead of the game. So stay right there and just deal from empathy, because not everyone is like you. Not everybody has the light that shines like you have. So don't be on your ego, but have empathy. Try to draw people to you to be not like you, but to have the same qualities. And then you'll be able to build one kid at a time out of your peer group.
And I'd like to finish up by saying, most importantly, love yourself. Self-love is one of the most important things you can have. Know that you are everything that you imagine yourself to be. You are worthy of kindness. You're worthy of any dream that you have, and you can definitely achieve it. Never be afraid to sit down with your fellow man who looks just like you and speak on things and talk about things that are good and that you guys can do together. Also, keep that energy, because you're gonna need it. and just follow your heart, follow your dreams, follow your passion, and know that you're just as smart as anyone else on this planet. And we all sitting here can learn from you just as much as you learn from us, and we appreciate you. And with that, we will wrap this up. We are so grateful for this time. I'm so blessed to have these incredible men, young men, with us, and we just hope that you've gained something from this, and we look forward to further discussions and further solutions, and always hold yourself accountable. This is Birthright. Thank you.